morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us once again for the faculty engagement session today. I am Mudita Bansal, and on behalf of TCS ION, I extend very warm welcome to all the esteemed faculty members joining us for this session from across India. It is truly encouraging to see continued participation in big numbers. In our first session, we began a very important journey together, where we conveyed that AI is for everyone and not just for computer science. It was a journey to close the gap between what students learn in classroom and what the world expects from them. And today's session continues that journey of drawing inspiration from countries all over. So, to set the context, let me begin with a very short story. A few months ago, a university in Singapore introduced a course called Design Your Life. It wasn't a subject, wasn't a specialization, a course that teaches students how to think, how to solve problems, collaborate, and build careers in this fast-changing environment. Around the same time, a Finnish university redesigned an entire semester to be project-only semester. No exams, no lectures, just real-world community problems solved in teams. In the US, students from engineering, psychology, and arts joined hands every year to design products for people with disabilities. They apply technology, empathy, creativity, everything together. These are not just teaching innovations. These are global shifts in how education is preparing the students for life. And here's an important part for us, contextual for us, the audience today, and all of us at TCS ION. NEP 2020 expects Indian higher education to move in exactly the same direction. So today's session is not about admiring global practices, just admiring global practices. It's about understanding how they connect beautifully with our own NEP 2020 and how you all as faculty, we all as industry and academia can bring them to the college campuses in simple, practical ways. Today's topic, global best practices in education, and we are delighted to welcome the speaker for the session today, Mr. Nikhil. Nikhil is a seasoned pre-sales solution consultant with over 11 years of expertise in SaaS-based edtech solutions and thought leadership across ASEAN, ANZ, Japan, and Middle East regions. An interesting fact, recently he did a project under Malaysian Ministry of Higher Education, their initiative Code My Future, where Nikhil conducted a recruitment exam for TCS Malaysia, which involved a 6-day boot camp and assessment program aimed at identifying and recruiting top talent from universities across Malaysia. And this was done for TCS as well as other leading organizations. So a lot of experience coming in our way today from the industry for all of you, for the faculty, attending faculty, administrators of colleges who are attending our session today. Thank you so much for joining in once again. Let me just set the construct of the session. We'll have a lot many polls for you, which we request you all to answer time to time. We will have an open Q&A session towards the end. In fact, in between, if you have any questions, please feel free to write on the chat, and we'll take all the relevant questions even during the session as and when possible. Nikhil will be asked a few questions by me. He will be answering those with the help of slide sets. Okay. And for the polling, we use an application called Slido, which is integrated with WebEx. All those of you who are joining from your laptops should be able to see a Slido poll appearing on your right side of the screen. If you're joining from your mobile, then you should be able to see a pop-up message on your mobile window, which you need to open and start, responding to the polls. So we have a good number of participants already. We are posting the first poll of the day for the audience, for our esteemed faculty today. which global practices are a key focus in the NEP? You need to select one global practice, which is a key focus in NEP, according to you, which makes the most sense. What is the one thing that you choose from these? Is it multidisciplinary education, holistic and experiential learning, academic bank of credits, research and innovation culture, or faculty development and autonomy? Which one of these you think is the most important according to you? Okay, so I have the responses, and interestingly, multidisciplinary education takes the first spot, followed by holistic and experiential learning, further followed by research and innovation, then faculty development, and then academic bank of credits. Very interesting responses, Nikhil. I'm sure we all vibe with these responses well enough. And it's always insightful to see how aligned the audience is with the NEP's core direction, right? So, Nikhil, based on these global practices and what our audience just highlighted, let us understand what does NEP expect and which are the top global education practices that Indian colleges can adopt quickly with minimal changes. Over to you, Nikhil.
Thanks, Mudita. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for that introduction, and welcome each and every one of you who've joined this webinar. So like just Mudita mentioned, and I see a great answers on the polls also. The first thing that we want to talk about today is the core expectations that the national education policy has set for all of us, and which are changing or guiding rules which came out in 2020. And in the second half, I'll just try to answer the second part of the question which Mudita just asked me, that how, which are the global practices which we can imbibe. I always feel that we are having a very good education system. It's just the adoption rate of a few things if we make, it will become absolutely brilliant. So let's look at the NEP aligned expectations. So you see on the screen right now, the first one being the multidisciplinary learning, where we all understand that NEP promotes a lot of multidisciplinary learning. In any context, if I talk about multidisciplinary, would understand or would give the context of having different departments or different streams coming together and doing certain segment of learning. Today we'll look into this in detail, how the multidisciplinary part is happening across various colleges and schools. I believe multidisciplinary learning is a very wide topic where you can have multiple segments of students coming across and doing maybe assignments, maybe learnings, maybe research, and it is going to help them not just learn theories but also to to help them grasp the concepts and apply them. Then we'll move to the academic bank of credit. This is a very interesting topic which I feel a bit of lacking is there in India in terms of academic bank of credits, where we say that I'm studying right now and suppose I get dropped from the first year, and then I come back and I start joining in the after 2 years I come back and I want to join the program again, suppose it's engineering or any program, then I think you have to start from scratch in most of the tier 2 3 colleges right now. But I think outside world they have made this bank of credits where you have stored your credit information at a place, and then when you come back after a gap of 2 years for any reason, it could be a personal reason, family reason, you came back, you took a break from studies, you came back, you start from the same point with the same electives and the same credits that you have stored with you, and you can do it in any college, not necessary that you continue from the same college, which I believe is a very good concept which has been imbibed now in NEP also and aligns with global practices as well. Moving to the third one, which is the undergraduate research part. So the undergraduate research, I believe research has still been of very undervalued in India, whereas when we move outside world, we see that the research part is too heavy. UK, US, the Europe, Australia, New Zealand, they invest very heavily with their students in doing undergraduate research. We'll definitely touch upon this in a very heavier way today. Experiential education, I still feel we can do a lot more in experiential education. I'll try to give up some examples today, how well can students can come out of those textbooks and start solving some real world problems to do experiential education, which is, and I think engineering is a subject which is actually spot on and made to do experiential education. Coming to the faculty autonomy and innovation, I believe faculty educating the faculty is obviously going to be something absolutely amazing. And I think with the AI being advanced right now, and like Mudita was just mentioning the last session that we have, that AI is for everyone, so AI is for the faculty as well. And I think AI will play a big game-changing role in deciding what the faculty wants to do. Do they want an autonomy on research? Do they want to do their different kind of a work? They want to set up some good set of examples for the students, and so on and so forth. Many things we'll talk about today. And the last one, which is actually very important, which is the skill integration and employability focus. So we need to shift our focus from those textbooks, from those theoretical exams, to certain problem solving real use cases. During the course of this session, I'll try and give a lot of examples from the engineering background, because that is where I come from. So if we move to the next slide, so this is a summarization of what the core expectations of NEP 2020 would be. Now let's try to answer the second half of the question which Mudita just put to us. That is, what are those global best practices that Indian colleges can actually go on to adopt to? So if you look at this, the very first one we see here is an interdisciplinary assignments. You all understand what interdisciplinary assignments is. I'm not going to explain anybody what is interdisciplinary assignments. What I'm going to talk about is how can we do this interdisciplinary assignment today. Let's start to do with the help of an example. Let's take the example of an engineering graduate students or the people who are pursuing engineering. Suppose we give them a core task of maybe the example that I've taken on the slide only, we can talk about it. Suppose it's a smart water management work that we can give to them. We ask them, okay, can you design some basic systems that are going to monitor the water usage in your hostel? Students are going to stay in their hostels, and suggest some ways to reduce the wastage. Now, what will the civil engineering guy do? He's going to check what are the various water connections, how many pipelines we have, how many tanks and all we have, what is the flow and all. What will the electrical guy do here? The electrical guy can put in some sensors in this project. He can come and measure the flow of water. And I think I'm not a very technical person, but you'll understand better what an electrical and electronics guy can do here. And then the CS guy. So I'm the CS guy. I can quietly, very nicely towards the end, build a beautiful dashboard for the presentation on smart water management, explaining how the entire water has been supplied to our hostel, what in volumes is our consumption, and how can we reduce it, and certain patterns also he can show. So in this way, using this small example of a smart water management, we are bringing CS, electrical, electronics, all these guys together and doing an assignment. Now the important part here is, do we need any infrastructure change to do this? I don't think so. The curriculum for any course, be it engineering, commerce, anything, comes from the universities. So the faculty here cannot change the curriculum, but they can change the learning design. So that is why we are here today.
They can change the assignments?
Yeah. Yes. Why not? Okay. Because the assignments is under the faculty's control. I always used to make good friends with my teachers and try to go to them at the last moment and say, sir, any important questions, please. So we all used to do that. So why can't they change in a semester rather than having a simple theoretical paper of 90 marks, 3 years exam? He'll say, okay, I'm scrapping this. I'm doing something, guys. This time, all 4 of you departments get together and we're doing this water management thing, or maybe a website management thing, or maybe how do you decide something related to electricity usage. There can be an enormous amount of examples which we can think of. So this will be your, without any change in the existing curriculum, just by shifting the pattern of one examination, you can actually do a good interdisciplinary assignment within your colleges. And remember, when these students start building something, they will actually experience the problems they face, and they'll actually face a real world problem. So that is the mindset shift which is happening, not just learning, but moving to the skill.
So the next one, I would like to then kind of contextualize it, that you don't need the industry to get into real world problems, right? The colleges can do that on their own with such assignments and such projects that you mentioned.
Correct. Like suppose another example we can take, which is around traffic problems near college gates. My college used to have a lot of traffic problems. Now a civil engineering guy can just study the road layout and traffic flow. And the assignment we can give them is, can you guys study peak hour traffic near the campus and suggest technology based few improvements which you feel like. The civil engineering guy can quickly go in a group of 2 or 3, a cohort, they can understand the road layout, traffic flow. The social science or the public policy guys can understand a citizen, maybe a safety angle. And then the CS guy, with the help of some AI things, he can bring in the traffic data patterns. And all this combined together can tell you what are the peak hours of traffic near your campus and what can we do to solve those kind of problems. So simple problems like this can actually help us do wonders. So moving out from the interdisciplinary assignments where we touched upon globally how this is a very good practice which we can take. I'm assuming this must be already done in some colleges, but the adoption rate has to increase now. The second one is a project-based evaluation. What I'm trying to put the message here is, in a project-based evaluation, there are a lot of exams throughout your semesters or years. You can replace one of your exam with this project-based evaluation. You can have an entire project. You can ask multiple teams to form groups or cohorts, and they can be given significant amount of projects. Like they can have project on energy saving project, or they could have a sensor based systems. Like for example, we can do the evaluation on, suppose it's a energy saving project, and it can be, this can be applicable to all engineering background kind of guys. Pardon me, I'm using a lot of engineering examples because I come from that context. So the project could be somewhere around measure the electricity usage in your classroom, in your lab, and suggest 2 ideas. They will have to collect the data first of all. They'll have to do certain calculations maybe, and then prepare a report and presentation. So these kind of things can change the way students analyze the problem. They're coming out of the textbook.
Optimization
Yes, absolutely.
ideas.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now I'll talk about the third one, which is my own favorite and which I see hugely implemented in international arena, which is called the adaptive assessments. I think adaptive assessments is going to, the global mindset is changing now. They are not evaluating every student on the same parameters. They are having personalized assessments. Now, if you see on the slide, I have mentioned 3 levels. So what we're trying to say here is that level 1 is beginner, level 2 is intermediate, and level 3 is advanced. I might be very basic person in coding. Somebody might be absolutely brilliant in coding, and somebody might be too advanced in coding. So what we're doing is we're creating 3 sets of that adaptive assessment. Now, I ask the students, pick up the question paper with which you relate the most. Somebody who's poor in coding like me, he will select level 1 paper. That, sir, I will give this examination where we need to write basic codes. I'll improve there. Somebody who's absolutely top notch or a middle level of coding, he'll select the level 2 and do that. And somebody who's at a niche level in coding, or maybe he's good at designing problems, now he knows fundamentals of mechanical, he knows to apply them, he'll select the third range of the assessment. What are you doing here? You are actually not testing each and every candidate on a single parameter. You are now testing them on their ability. And towards the end of the exam, you'll be able to figure out, let's see, this guy of mine is absolutely brilliant in XYZ things, whereas this set of guys are absolutely brilliant in this. Now he can be provided grades or scores basis that. If you see in Europe, they have this thing which we come across a lot of times in RFPs and all, which is called CEFR levels, the common European frameworks, which has various levels like A1, A2, B1, B2. A1, A2 are general beginners levels, and B1, B2 are intermediate levels, and L1, L2 are your advanced levels. And they do the scoring on the basis of the sets of questions that you've cleared in your examinations, and not basis the entire single question paper which everybody is attempting. So what I'm trying to say is, if I answer the first question right, the next question I get will be a little tougher, and if I answer that right, I get another one, the next one a more tougher question. So my skill has been tested at how deep I have the knowledge in that system, more or less like a TOEFL or your IELTS examinations. All this happen in adaptive assessments way, where you get your bands and all. So adaptive assessment can actually shift your mindset from doing single alone evaluation to personalized evaluation of students, which is actually the game changer. And I think the adoption of adaptive right now in India is quite less.
Will we not need a digital setup for adaptive assessments rather than
of course,
pen and paper setup?
100% will need a digital setup to do an adaptive thing, kind of a thing. Moving on, the industry case integration. This is again very relevant. I think in UK and US, if you go, people start from the first year itself start doing in Germany and Switzerland and all. You'll see first year itself they start doing apprenticeship. And if you go to UK or the US, they start doing some kind of part-time jobs along with their work and all. So they start building a lot of integration with the industry, how the industry is, how the work experience is, and then they can decide how scalabilities will happen in those industries and various other things. So the other point which you are trying to tell is that industry case integration should be there. For example, the best example that I could think of is Zomato and Swiggy. Zomato and Swiggy, all of us almost use them. How is Swiggy and Zomato's order management system working? Can I not ask a CS or an IT student that can you guys build me a good set of block diagrams and tell me, rather than studying your books about all these things, tell me how the order management, the payments, their inventory is managed through a block diagram. Whatever you understand, can you guys come out and explain to me? Maybe it could be a 10-15 marks on the spot presentation. You give them some time. It's a real world scenario problem and let them think. And when they go back, they can always Google and try to learn more and understand. So the point here is the more industry integration you give to students, the more focus you give to them, they will imbibe more of problem solving nature, which is actually which we want to develop them their skills. If you have problem solving skills, you get better placed. When you get better placed, you change lives of a lot of people. So industry case integration could again be a very good game changer. And again, there can be thousands of examples how this can be done. One more very quick point, certification layering, where I'm saying that you create a lot of skill layers on top of your degrees. This is done in India now a lot, like an AIML certification or a cybersecurity or a VLSI certification. It could be very beneficial to you where you can differentiate yourself in terms of niche skills, which very few people are having. That again applies to what is your core learning, and then accordingly you can choose the certification. The last one is very interesting. Building portfolio. The students in India don't pay much attention to this. Reason being, they know that towards the end, I will have a placement drive and I'll sit in that. So placements in India are actually quite centralized towards the end, fourth year. It doesn't happen like that in the international arena. Like I mentioned, in the first year itself, you'll start doing a lot of work in your you'll start working along with the culture in US and UK, both is the same. You start working part-time jobs, you start doing there, and you start doing certain kind of I'm forgetting the word which is coming to my mind. You start doing a lot of jobs and all, and you start building your portfolio.
Internships.
Yeah, internships and all. Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
And internships are basically, they call it a sandwich kind of a degree where you do an internship for one entire year in, especially in UK, you do it for entirely 1 year, and then you continue your studies and all. So UK, Germany, Switzerland, they all follow this, where the student is asked to do a full 1 year internship, and he's required to, learn all the experiences over there. And over a period of time for them, right from first year, second year, third year, your portfolio is building. Where did you work? What are the extra things that you did? Okay, what did you learn in the internship? And several other things. They don't wait for placements to happen when the companies have to come. They start applying directly as well. A lot of students in the US at least. So the core messaging that I want to give is that building portfolio should start from year one of any course or curriculum, not just in the final year where we start making our CVs in India towards the end. It should not be like that. It should be a bit centralized. I think what we are doing is also good, but we should try to make it more portfolio strong. We should push students to make their portfolios really strong, have certain webinar sessions, talk to certain domain industry experts. If they want to do multiple internships, they should do it, and so on and so forth. So in a nutshell, interdisciplinary assignments, project-based evaluations, adaptive assessments, and of course adaptive learnings, industry case integration, and certification learning, along with a strong portfolio building. These would be six pillars for us to pick, which we can actually pick very quickly in Indian colleges without any change in infrastructure.
Thanks, Nikhil. This was very, very interesting. In fact, I'd like to bring the audience back into the conversation. We have the next poll, and we want to ask you what will be your first step based on this slide. I mean, let's stay on this slide. Based on this slide, what will be your first step when you, I mean, which you would like to immediately implement or propose to your college authorities, or just, start working on maybe for the next semester for your students?
So the first one for me would always be assessments. I'll tell you.
Sorry, my question is to the audience, Nikhil.
Oh,
I'm
so
asking
sorry.
the audience,
So sorry, my
what
bad.
will be your next step when you go back today after this session? What is it that you find this can be easily done as the first step? So we're talking about a smart water management system management project, kind of an interdisciplinary assignment, or a project-based evaluation, for example, the electricity usage. These are just examples. Adaptive assessment, of course, it needs a digital setup, as we discussed. So, are there other ways that you would like to, implement it, or would you know of ways that it can be done on pen and paper? Industry case integration, as Nikhil has mentioned about Swiggy and Zomato use case, and then certificate layering, building portfolios with internships and skill building. So let's see, we have very less responses so far in the chat. Sorry, in the poll. There's a Slido poll that we have launched for this. If you do not see the poll, please feel free to respond in the chat. It's a very important question, trying to make sense of what we've spoken in the past 15 minutes, what Nikhil has spoken in the past 15 minutes. So let us spend 2 minutes on this, please. Okay, so portfolio building is one response I have got. Assignment is the maximum, has got the maximum response so far. Skill layer, which means, again, building portfolio. Project-based evaluation is taking the top spot now. Assignments and project-based evaluation. So we understand that these are easily doable then? Do we infer that from the responses? And then I think it's a successful conversation. The last 15 minutes is a successful conversation if the attendant faculty thinks that these are easy to implement. So very glad that this has, this has culminated this way. Moving ahead, let's shift to something every classroom needs more of, the real world learning, although we've been talking about that itself. So other than the examples that you just showed, what are some simple ways to bring experiential or project-based learning into the regular classroom? I mean, assignment level we've already spoken about, but what about the regular classroom? Nikhil.
Okay. So I think, yeah, thank you. So I think what we were just working with the University of Cyberjaya also, we work with National University of Singapore and MITs as well. But if you see what we can do immediately, one of the basic steps that we believe is, which I just mentioned also, that you replace one of your smallest of the assignments, whichever you're doing per semester, into an interdisciplinary assignment and do a joint project between two departments. And it is going to be absolutely doing wonders for you, because what students do, what they learn by experience, because if they learn something from experience, it can be actually a game-changing thing for them. For example, let's take another example. Now suppose let's have a measurement activity kind of a setup. Maybe we all are in classrooms and we can ask the students that, can you measure the actual classroom dimensions? They can measure the actual classroom dimensions. Can they calculate where would the fan be placed if you have to build the same room? How much power would be consumed in kilowatt hours or whatever it is? And the lighting requirement, how much lighting would be required in this basic setup, simple setup, classroom measurement. What is this applying? Concepts are applied here. Basic mathematics could be applied. Your electrical fundamentals maybe, which I was very bad at. Then engineering drawing, which is one of the most dangerous subjects for the engineering students. And what is going to majorly happen from this is that they will observe. Some of them will make a cohort and observe and try to measure the classroom. They'll measure, they'll calculate, they'll validate. And so what is happening here? They have come out of these textbook numericals with various departments or within their department also. They have come out of this environmental comfort, engineering drawing comfort, electrical fundamentals comfort, and basic mathematics. And they have applied all these concepts to get a grasp of, and they can tell you now, they can come to the HOD and tell us, sir, if we want a similar infrastructure in future, this is the amount of power supply, this is the amount of things we need. So that shows that in that college, the students are actually applying what they're learning. And these students can be absolutely top notch if they started to solve small problems in their colleges with these kind of multidisciplinary learnings. And this could be an assignment. This could be turned into an assignment with 30% weightage to maybe a calculation, 30% weightage to how they're presenting these things. Very simple things could be, good game changing things. And also this your campuses as a living lab, the entire campus, suppose it is raining very heavily and you say that the drainage during rains, how should we study the drainage system of our own campus? The cracks in the buildings are coming up, the power usage of one block. Can we study all this and apply the concept of structural basics, which is core in engineering first and second years, some safety standards, which is taught almost in every subject, and of course sustainability has to be there. So students will learn engineering by observing real infrastructures and not diagrams. So this is the core messaging that I want to give, that if you want them to uh, be it a CS guy also, you can think of designing a web. Maybe you can have a cultural fest in the college and you can ask them, okay, the CS guys, you need to design a website and a mobile application now in order to everybody to participate in this cultural fest. And this will be an assignment for this entire batch of guys, and the best page or whoever designs this is going live. So what is happening here? They're actually not observing things or getting real world applications into this. They're actually implementing, fighting the solution which was there lying on the textbook. They were just memorizing the theory and doing it. Rather than doing that, they have come out of it, applying this and solving the problem, getting a solution. Why this is important is not just for grades. He'll get a grade, I know, but when he goes into a job one day, his mindset will change. He will start adopting to problems in a way he looked at his classroom measurement. He will remember, okay, how I was able to look at the infra at my school and I was able to predict, or my college, I was able to predict, sir, this is the drainage system, how it works, sir, this is the amount of power consumption. His mindset will shift. He will be able to solve problems much better and quicker than other people in his job also. So this small learning design change by the faculty right now who's in this session can actually make immense magnanimous changes in that student's career. So that's why I think this multidisciplinary learning with some small changes could be absolutely a game changer, which the
And
slide last slide
experiential
says
learning? Sure,
minimal changes with high impact.
correct. Yeah. What about experiential learning that way?
I think experiential learning is more about experiencing the stuffs. I think maybe we can say certain local problems where the engineering thinking we can apply. Like we can say, okay, let's take an example of the canteen. I used to be there at, most of the time in my college time. So there is a lot of crowd in the canteen. Suppose you need to have a lot of parking issues as well. So you can apply from your engineering lenses that how are you going about the flow analysis. You can have a layout redesign. You can have a simple automation kind of ideas that how do I solve all these crowd problems. And from uh, the experiential lens, if I see, which Modita is just trying to ask me, the problem has to be felt by the student, and then his learning would be natural. Like he has to apply his system thinking, okay, why is this designed in a way that there is always traffic congestion in this place? Okay, what are the human factors in the layout design or the simple optimizations which I can make, which I can suggest to my HOD that, sir, this is something which we can do to solve this problem which I feel inferring by just which is felt by me by just looking at the things. And the same was the example which I gave for earlier for the measurement thing. They're looking at the classroom. They're going on to measure it. Now they're experiencing that learning. They've come out of that textbooks where it had 2D diagrams. Now they've come out of it and now they're going into applying them. So I think this is all examples can keep doing. But what I'm trying to say, the key message here is for experiential learning or for multidisciplinary learning, you need to make very small changes in your learning design, and I think it'll have greater impact on the student's career. Yeah, so the practical ways which faculties can enable, I think Sonali, we just talked about all of this, the learning clusters, collaborations across project. Yeah, inviting a guest speaker from other domain, that could be one of them that you can definitely invite. I think that you already might be doing, inviting multiple speakers from other domain. That must be already been done. And we spoke about very heavily on interdisciplinary assignments. So this is all covered now.
Okay. Let's go to the next slide then. I think we are talking about real world projects there, right? Real world learning.
I think, yeah. So here in case, I think this is more or less the same thing. We have spoken a lot about this already. We can move to the next one, Mudita. I think we have spoken about this.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
this we have talked
There's
about.
something interesting there, design thinking labs, if you could touch upon that topic in the previous slide.
Right. So design thinking labs are something where you can build, you can ideate, and they can even design a prototype. There are 4-5 steps in the design thinking labs actually, where you sit down as a cohort and you work on a problem statement. First of all, what exactly is a problem statement? Because the problem is nowadays, the moment everybody sees a problem, everybody rushes to give a solution to it. Just pause, understand the problem statement first. Understanding the problem statement, the very first step, is actually missing from a lot of the students that we have seen across. Everybody is rushing to write a code, everybody is rushing to solve any problem. So just sit down, take a halt, ideate for a minute, think, brainstorm together with your cohort size, and then go on to pitch a solution. And trust me, when you ideate, when you brainstorm, you take a small pause, the design thinking element, overall it comes out quite well. I think there are 4-5 steps in this entire design thinking process where you can have your labs redesigned in a way. One thing which I would like to add is, in a design thinking lab, you just don't say do this, do that, or these are the steps, please follow, in the physics lab or a chemistry lab, or the way we have studied in my time. But it replaces do this, do that by build this. Okay, if there isn't something on operating system which I have learned, can you build a small operating system? Okay, there is a subject called DBMS, which the lot of CS guys study, database management structures. Can you build something on DBMS? All right, electrical guys, can you build a small sensor kind of a thing which just senses electricity or water flow, something? The moment it sees light, it glows up. The moment it's dark, it shuts down. Something like that. So can you build something in the laboratories with the equipments available? Don't follow the steps or the procedure manuals which are there, which have been coming out so many times. So can you look to now build certain special kind of things rather than following those steps? So I think bringing the building phase in a student, which again helps him to think, analyze, changes the mindset. So my core, my core messaging throughout will be the same thing, that your mindset shift is required rather than bringing them out of those textbooks. And this shift in mindset is required, where it will help for all these things, be it experiential learning, project-based learning, or a multidisciplinary learning. All three of these, I think that mindset change is required, which can be done very easily with your changes.
Two interesting comments. Mr. B.L. Desai says practically all the 6 best practices that you mentioned in the beginning, they are all implemented in their university. Mr. Desai, if you could also name your university here. Dr. Kartika RN also says that SEC has implemented all these 6 in the college. So great to know. Great to know that. And there are some comments where they're saying, if Nikhil, you could raise your voice a bit and be allowed.
Okay.
Be louder.
So I think we
And there was another comment.
I think we need to. So see, Mudita, you see here clearly two people have said that we have implemented. This is what I'm saying. The adoption rate has to increase. We already have the entire system in India. We already have the entire system in India. It is nothing like we need to copy a lot of things from the global arena. No, I'm not saying that. We have good content in India already. System is very well. Tweaks are required only in the learning design element, if we can do that. And who can do that? The great faculty who is right now in this session with us. They can just do those tweaks, and I think wonders will start happening.
I agree. We have another message from Deepti. She says 5 of them are implemented in NIT Calicut. Suresha says Christ University has implemented most of them. Pranav Gosalia says, happy with your inputs. My question is how to scale these practices.
Very interesting. This is very interesting. How do we scale these things? All right.
So I think this community that we are trying to build, the faculty community, educator community that we are trying to build with these sessions, these discussions, I think this is where these problems will also get solved, right? How to scale. We brainstorm together. We do these workshops, design thinking workshops, for example, for the faculty as well. We empathize with each other, we ideate, and then we create something, and then we solve the problem then and there. So, yes, but Nikhil, your
I
thoughts
think we
on that, please.
can, very simple answer how we can scale. We have around 200, 250 people in this call. And I think the people who've implemented this in their colleges must be 10, 15, 20 messages which they have read. How do we scale this from 20 to 250 is the question. Very simple. Let's start implementing it to full scale and let's stay disciplined with it. If we are changing in a semester one small exam with a project based evaluation, then next semester also it should remain like that. Even if students are saying, sir, this is not working out, because nobody likes changes. But believe me, if you start investing in it, stay disciplined in it, I think slowly and slowly it will start scaling up, where I think it will reach to the universities. And then what will happen is the universities will say, okay, here I have a list of 20 to 25 or 30 or 35 or 3,000 colleges who have changed the way they are teaching, but my curriculum is still old fashioned and they are doing it at their end. Why should I not change the curriculum only now to help them out with this learning pattern design that they have developed? And now this is the biggest scale. The curriculum is coming from the universities, from the ministries. Now it is, if the curriculum is changing and if the curriculum is mandating that please have mandatorily multidisciplinary learning with multiple faculties, please have experiential learning, please take out the students out of the classroom and do certain activities, then boss, you have actually scaled up. The answer is you have actually scaled up.
I have another thought on it
Yeah.
to build upon it. So these 10, 20 people who say that, yes, we have so many of these ideas implemented in our colleges, we would like to have you all on board as speakers in our next session.
Definitely.
Let us just have a panel discussion here with all of you together. I mean, some of you sitting together in this panel here and talking about how you've implemented, so that the others can help you scale, and and you
Definitely.
can help them implement these in their colleges. So that is what we are trying to do with these sessions, Nikhil and our dear audience. So Miss Divya N wants to see 2 slides up. She wants to take a screenshot. If you could just go 2 slides up. Sonali. Yeah. Miss Divya, for you. Meanwhile, let me see. There are a few more questions. So Miss Dr. Manish Kumar Jha says the real issues are in tier 2 and tier 3 colleges, as students are only looking to get a degree, not willing to put effort while learning. Do we have a solution to that? Okay.
I think uh, I was, when reading this, I was envisaging that somebody will ask this question, and I was thinking what could be the best solution to this, where the student itself is like more on these kind of things. So I think the answer to that right now could be that, see, if I am not doing good amount of learning, a project based, or a, rather than a project based, rather than a theory based learning, it is good to put that person in a cohort of 4 5 guys where he can do certain type of experiential learning. He might enjoy going out, do take the example of this classroom one which I was talking about, where you need to do measurements, you need to tell where is the fan placements, lighting, output. He might not be able to predict a fan placement or lighting because his concepts are weak, but he might be very interested in the measurement. He might say, oh, please, I want to do this measurement, this is a very nice activity. So maybe if we can bring some interest by changing certain aspects of the way we teach them, and maybe then they can come out of it. And of course, for some students who are absolutely not very handy to do, we will need to have certain different kind of sessions with them so that they understand the basics and come back strongly. So that is the one thing. But I would still believe
I
that
think
rather than a theory
yeah.
based thing, a project based work in cohorts actually works wonder. And where that is where I was trying to tell that adaptive assessments, where we tell them that you don't have to give an examination. You are at L1 level, you need to reach to this L2 level to get a certain grade. Otherwise, you end up doing these kind of activities, something like that.
Okay. Yeah. So, okay. Pranav Gosalia says, can TCS come up with a common domain-specific forum for sharing ground-level practices, experience sharing, and discussion platform? We are working towards that, Mr. Gosalia. I mean, that is the intent of connecting with all of the faculty pan-India. We are trying to understand what are the challenges that you are facing to get into this mode of learning, of teaching, and for the students to get into this mode of learning. We will definitely work on it to solve it together. So that is the intent. Meanwhile, I mean, let us move forward with the questions that I have already framed for you, Nikhil, and for which you have created these slides. But meanwhile, let me trigger the audience to start writing the challenges that they see in implementing these. Let us, collect a list of challenges so that we know what is the on ground reality. TCS knows what is the on ground reality and what is it that we want to, work on. Uh, Okay, I have another request from Palaksha Reddy saying, please show previous slides. Let us skip that. We'll show we'll send you the recording once it is ready. And in fact, we have a page where all these, session recordings will be posted. It may take some days, a few days to get the recording onto that portal, but it will surely come, and you will get the recording link. Also, since we're going to give you the certificates of participation by tomorrow or day after, they should be there in your inboxes, all for all those who are attending. We'll try to send the recording link in that mail only, but if not, then we'll definitely send it to you later. I'll move on to the next question. Another important pillar that often gets overlooked at the undergraduate level is research.
Absolutely.
Now, how can these global models inspire us to promote undergraduate research in Indian colleges? Nikhil.
I think undergraduate research is when I was studying, it is just about publishing the papers. It is just about publishing the papers for all of us, but actually it is not. It again here the mindset shift is required. We need to learn how to ask. We need to learn how to ask questions, right questions, investigate, and reason scientifically, which are some of the most important things. How do we inculcate the habit of asking questions and not just making students submit the publishing papers towards the end, working with multiple sources, reading and all? We can ask them, instead of asking them to just go on and start research right from year one. Generally research starts after second or third year. Right from year one, instead of only assignments or projects, students should get small research oriented tasks, like it could be comparing certain, in technical terms if you ask me, you can compare certain algorithms maybe which performs better under real conditions. Can you compare two machines? If it's a mechanical kind of a guy, can you compare the machines, their performances, these kind of things? And we can ask them to do certain market research also, that what is going on currently in your area of expertise, what is going on in the market, what are the uh, maybe we can ask them to do research about the UK market, US market, and we can ask them to come up with certain ideas. What did you understand there? What is the study? And ask them to come and present those studies in the first year itself of their studies. In the second year itself, then they can have that research kind of a mindset. They're not researching to get marks for that. They're researching to find answers to questions, and then asking right set of questions. Suppose they want to understand, can we open a new branch of our college in Australia, Sydney? Can we open that? Tell them, okay, tell us, can we open or not? Can you please go into a market research? So they'll think, okay, what does it require to open a new branch in Sydney? First of all, whether there is a need at all. Okay, what are the accreditations required to open the things in Sydney? So this way, they have stopped thinking about publishing papers or doing anything. Their mindset is changing to a research mindset, which actually we don't promote right now. We should definitely do. And again, the same thing comes into picture here. A small tweak in the learning design by faculties, where they can give them certain tasks in the very beginning, 6 months, 7 months, that please go on and do this research and come back to me in a span of these many days and do a small presentation, not a very big presentation, small sustainable presentations if you can do. And there is no fixed right answer on this. You can say that we want to encourage curiosity in these students. This work can be done in 1 or 2 weeks, and we want them to have an open-ended question asking mindset. And you can keep weightage of 10 to 15% of this small research which you keep giving them in the first, second, third or fourth semesters, and an output could be your report and a reflection. So with this, by the time they come for the real research, the student has learned how research begins. It begins with a research. Okay, there are certain, when I research something, I need to mention the source. Okay, what is the citation? He learns all these things slowly over a period of time, and then when the real one comes, he actually bangs on. He does a very good research. He's able to answer the questions correctly. He's able to answer the right set of questions, and he has a curious mind to do this kind of a research. Whereas what is happening right now, we just say there is a research, there is some paper you have to submit. So we have to stop this from being a paper submission to a open mindset where you have curiosity to ask questions and you learn by more doing it. So this is how I see it. And in the UK and the US, if you see the mini research task and all these kind of tasks begin right from first year itself. Another method that we can deploy is having faculty student research clusters, which is there in the slide as well, where there can be a faculty mentor. There could be 5 to 6 students and one broad theme could be given. And we can say that we create once we create such small research groups rather than having isolated projects. So one faculty mentor, just 4 5 cohorts, and we have a broad theme. A broad theme could be anything. It could be AI for social good. Very important topic, AI for social good. Okay guys, let's figure out is how good is AI for the social cause of it. uh, Using AI properly, maybe healthcare trends, maybe smart cities. Now, a lot of cities in India are turning AI. So, what does it take to make a city AI? Can you please see what the government has done? Some research, let them all come back and tell us, sir, this is what is happening. So, we are not asking them to do heavy research. They will read 2 3 articles, come back to you, they will replicate a basic experiment model, they will identify certain gaps, and that can be a mini investigation. So that mindset is again changing, and there is no pressure also of publications initially in the first years or second years when you're giving them such kind of task. And the faculty role here would be what? Guide the mindset, teach them certain kind of ethics, some methodologies, and reframe or rewrite their way of asking questions. Because if their way of asking questions is made better by the faculties, esteemed faculties who are there in in the session with us today, I think the outcome would be brilliant. The students experience a collaborative research culture rather than just looking to submit a paper. So I think these are some methods that we can do. And of course, I think the slide also mentioned that we can have a undergraduate research day, a flagship activity. We can have an annual in-campus event where they can only present their research idea. It could be any idea. They can showcase their findings, and very important, they can discuss failures of those ideas and learning that, sir, this is an idea, looks very vague, but we want to present it to you. We have made a prototype which is actually not working, but we tried something out of this, and maybe the next time we'll make this work. So research idea pitching sessions, something like that on a Saturday evening or something like that we can do. So these are some things which I believe research can become aspirational and valued, which actually is not, and it should be.
Shark Tank at the college. A Shark Tank at the college level, maybe.
Oh, fantastic idea. Another fantastic idea.
Okay, a few audience are saying that you're not audible, but I think the voice is very clear. Audience, we request you to please get your earphones maybe, or increase the volume of your system, the laptop or your mobile phone. Nikhil is very clear, loud and clear, as I see. Dr. Swati Saxena says that wants to highlight a challenge, how to ensure students are using AI in a productive way.
This is very important. The use case of AI is absolutely very important. And I think the answer to that is that we as TCS ION, we should take one session on this topic, responsible use of AI. This is very important. And I think the awareness on the responsible use of AI is very less. We should definitely have certain maybe some reels or some kind of stuff where students understand the responsible use of AI. This is actually very important topic, and also they understand what kind of data we are giving to these kind of models. See, the basic thing they need to understand is these models are made by a lot of companies. The model works by giving data. So their ChatGPT started for 299 and then it came down to zero cost. Why? Because it wants good amount of data. So when the data is there, its model will grow. So we should understand what are we asking him or her, ChatGPT, or be it a cloud, or be it Google Gemini, or be it anything. So we need to be very careful about the usage. And I would like to say that the government is with the deep fakes. We all know that how strict the government rules and regulations are coming. We keep hearing in the news, especially about deep fakes, which causes a lot of problems to people. So yes, definitely. And I think a good session should happen on responsible use of AI, not just for the students, but for the faculties as well.
Sure. We'll do that. Nikhil, thanks for that input. And Dr. Manish Jha says recently, he's sharing. Recently, I gave an assignment with two options to students. Either solve 20 to 30 numerical problems from the textbook or analyze 5 to 8 real-life case studies.
Absolutely.
Surprisingly, most students so far have chosen the book-based numerical questions.
And how many of them did select the this thing? Because even if a batch of 90 is given this, and there are only 1 or 2 students who choose the other way around, so that means हम scale कर रहे हैं, we are scaling but at a very small level. Once again, time लगेगा थोड़ा, because this is a very big change. From you just ask me, if I was studying that time, even I would have selected, yeah, I will choose the book, sir. But a bit game changing mindset change right from the beginning, from the school, if it is given that those guys will change and they'll come and say, oh, I'll choose the 4-5 use cases, sir. I want to solve some problems. I'm coming from that background. So I think this is from zero level, this has to rise. So it'll take some time. The mindset changing is not an easy thing.
Completely agree. I was about to say that even if 1 in 60 has done the case studies, Dr. Jha, then you have made the initiation. You've already initiated the revolution in your department. Okay, let me see if I have any more questions for you, Nikhil. Okay, yeah, I have. But before that, we have a poll for the audience. To understand your priorities in research, what according to you is the best way to enable research and innovation culture in India? Although we've given you a few options in this poll, audience, but please feel free to write anything in the chat as well. The options that we have given to you are mandatory mini research project in the second year, faculty student research clusters, research methodology workshops, publish student journals, and dedicated research wing in your college. So all these are, of course, in line with what Nikhil just spoke about. It's a Slido poll that we have enabled, and it's a multi-select poll. You can select more than one option, whatever you feel is the right one, or easily doable. Maybe that could be your criteria of selection. Okay, faculty research student clusters has 67% support. Mandatory mini research project has 59% support. Research methodology workshops, 50%. Dedicated research wing, 38%. Most difficult, I think, is publishing student journals.
Absolutely.
Okay, I think it's in line with the kind of challenges that the audience were mentioning in the chat. So, Nikhil, I think pretty much the summarizing question, what should the faculty prioritize when aligning teaching with NEP 2020? Prioritization we're talking about.
My first thing for prioritization would always be assessments, because it is the evaluation for which the student is always behind. I'm going to get these many marks. So it is the evaluation or the assessment that you should immediately start with. If you see the third point that is there, or in fact the first point, if you read from the right side, assessment redesign, and it says same syllabus, different thinking. So what we're saying is, previously we used to ask in questions, define an operating system scheduling. It could be a question, or maybe define network designing. What is it called? Networking concepts, which I was very bad at. So rather than asking such questions now, what I'm saying is, we tell them design a network entire place for me. You design the scheduling systems for a hospital, or you design a scheduling system where we as faculties can actually forecast or tell your attendance. Design a scheduling system maybe for the entry of cars in the parking and all. Can you design that? So this is the kind of evaluation which will hit them very hard. They need to actually change from theoretical or people who are just keeping learning things to problem solvers and thinkers. This is the most important and immediate step I think you can take I remember just one of the faculty just mentioned that he started doing it and he asked them if you want an open book examination or you want to do 4 or 5 use cases. Yes, the number initially might be lesser. We can put in certain more discipline and guidance and we can say that this is mandatory. You need to now go up and do certain kind of defining a prototype, designing a prototype maybe, rather than just having them write down the definitions of certain things in their branches of or core studies. Let's ask them to design prototypes. Let's ask them to build and tell them you may go wrong. It is not like you'll fail the examination. You will be given a level that are you at an intermediate level on this, beginner or advanced. That is the adaptive way of assessment redesign that I'm inculcating into the students of my colleges from a faculty's perspective. So the first one would be definitely assessment redesign. Integration of essential skills, which is again the problem solving and other things, but this integration should happen with the industry alignment. I know that in the third year or the fourth year, they'll go for certain 3 4 months of internship and all. I would recommend highly that you go with the sandwich year concept of the Europe, where they say that one full entire year you do your internships or apprenticeship, anything you can do for one full year. You look to do some basic kind of jobs in certain industries, try to understand the core learnings over there. Highly it should be promoted by the faculties, and if students are not able to find such things, I think faculty themselves should take the ownership and just try to create with the alma maters or with the alumni of that college, that if we can create a core group where we can align few of our students for apprentice or maybe for internship for one full year, and let's change a few assessments into internships and let's ask them to go and get this done. So this could be another game changing thing or mind boggling thing. And then the last part, the active research and the learning engagements, adaptive learnings, and of course the research that we just now talked about, that can we please start giving them some small mini research projects right from the 6th month or the 3rd month or the 5th month, small steps, so that they can become very good people who can ask right set of questions. They have an evaluating mindset and their abilities change. And yes, we'll have to make a few of these mandatory, because I hear from the conversation in the chat that we have implemented few things, we don't see the results. Can we just implement few things, and can we also take a session for them and tell them why are we doing this? See, students are never interested to know why is this change been done. So can we not go and tell them? I think they want to know this, but that awareness is not there. So we need to tell them that, see, what we are trying to do here with you is we're trying to change your mindset. There's a different pattern of scoring that we'll do, and we're making your skills for the next coming era. So which is very important. Companies look for candidates who have problem solving skills, not just the aptitude and the interview. The interviews, at times in interviews, they ask a lot of puzzles, a lot of such things where the aptitude of the student, the problem solving ability is tested. And if the college and the faculty has worked very hard on him right from the beginning of the first year with these research things, with these adaptive assessments, I'm very sure the placement level of that college is definitely going to go high. It'll take time, no doubt about it. It'll not happen just a day. It'll take time, but if we stick to this, I think it should do wonders.
Another thought that is coming to my mind, Nikhil, is this will also increase the work of the faculty to evaluate, no? I mean,
Not at all.
evaluating 20,
I'll tell you.
30 numericals vis-a-vis reading through 5, 6 case studies per student.
So now,
Imagine the kind of work that the faculty themselves need to do.
so there comes the AI auto marking. There comes TCS Ion to help you. So we have AI in auto marking now enabled, which lot of teachers in India are now started to use. And one of the teachers, I think, mentioned about the responsible use of AI. This is a classic case where the teacher can say that now I'm going to use AI responsibly just to assist me, to help me summarize those 5 answer sheets or 5 use cases of every student within a span of 5 to 10 minutes. And then I can quickly check upon it and I can quickly give the marks, and the work will be done much faster rather than solving or checking those 25 to 30 things. So another thing which I wanted to add here, which I can, with your question, I can add to this, is that the faculty can also start learning prompt engineering. Prompt engineering is the new, anybody looking to skill themselves up in AI should definitely look for prompt engineering. It is a course which is actually helps you how to do various prompt, how to write a prompt. This is the next era of the world, is basically going to be about prompt engineering. So if the faculty is well versed or knows this technology very well, they can solve their own problems as well as students.
Thank you. In fact, it makes me think that we should do a few sessions on the digital tools that the faculty can use to ease this complete process. How to evaluate case studies, digitally evaluate case studies. I mean, digital marking, TCS Ion digital marking product needs to be bought by their colleges. That's an authority call that has to be taken. But meanwhile, how do the faculty use these digital tools, AI tools, to make their work easier and more effective? Okay, so your examples on global teaching models, flexible learning pathways, and Nikhil, experiential approaches and research-oriented classrooms. I think all of these gave our audience a very practical picture of what can be implemented even with minimal changes, as you said. What becomes very clear in today's discussion, in today's classrooms, that today's classrooms need more than subject knowledge, strong subject knowledge also. Students benefit immensely when we add the elements like multidisciplinary exposure, hands-on activities, real-world projects, and research thinking, all of which are already a part of the leading global education system. And the good news is that so many of them have been implemented in Indian colleges as well, and hopefully without changing much of the entire curriculum. That TCS Ion has collaborated with leading IITs and IIMs. For example, IIT Kharagpur, IIT Guwahati, IIT Ropar, IIT Hyderabad, to bring certain certificate programs for your students. So these are all hands-on, real-world skilling programs. For example, IIT Ropar, we have a program on cybersecurity essentials. Now, we've just discussed today, that multidisciplinary learning should be brought in. So how could we think a few years ago that cybersecurity could be a very important part of manufacturing, in the manufacturing domain? But it has become, right, of the manufacturing operations and, so making it truly multidisciplinary. So why not use these kind of certificates for your students? I mean, these are paid certificate programs, although, but we are just letting you know that these kind of certificate programs are available. TCS Ion as well. So similarly, I'll give you another example, VLSI chip design program with IIT Hyderabad. They have an online learning program for, I think, about 4 weeks or 6 weeks, and then a boot camp, a 1-week boot camp at the IIT Hyderabad campus itself for the students to learn what is going on in the semiconductor industry and how they can, upskill themselves to contribute in this explosion that is happening there. Another example, IIT Kharagpur, we are doing a program on hands-on AI for real-world applications. We call it the HIGH program, hands-on approach to real-world applications, AI real-world applications. Now, here the students apply AI to real industry problems, strengthening the practical project-based learning. So guiding students to know more about these programs can help them build these practical skills, gain confidence, and become better prepared for the real world roles. That is the easiest thing I think that we can do right now. Of course, we've through the discussion today, we've captured so many other pointers from you, Nikhil, and from the audience. I mean, more from the audience. I really appreciate how, how dedicatedly they have just surrendered to the topic and given us so many inputs on, what all ideas actually on what all TCS can do for bringing all of this together into a package, right? So thank you so much. Am I left with anything else for the session? Okay. So one last question before we wind up. Do you have some examples of such certificate programs from the global industry perspective, education industry perspective, Nikhil?
I think there are a lot, if you ask me, but there are certain programs which are very good in India also, very, very, very good in India, and even in fact outside people are also doing those such programs, and specifically programs related to AI. Everybody, this is the buzzword right now, and everybody wants to launch into AI. But I would like to say that the programs that we just mentioned right now on the screen, the IIT Ropers and the IIT Guwahati programs, these are actually very good programs. The reason being, they bring this hands-on exposure to the students and accounting with and also the academic credibility. Because in India, IITs are the boss, they are the big names, and students love the trust that they're given. So this academic credibility along with the hands-on exposure, and of course they are obviously industry aligned. So keeping all these three things in mind, I think these kind of programs are absolutely gems. We work a lot of times in Asian geographies where these kind of programs are lacking, where institutes of higher importance have shaken hands with technology providers, and both of them are collaboratively doing something. So there we try to be game changers in a lot of such geographies like the Indonesia, Philippines, in fact UK and Europe as well to some segment. But in terms of certifications and courses which you mentioned, I think anything on AI, good AI programs, I think there are certain IIT students who are running good AI programs which you can actually learn.
I would say AI along with the core engineering skills, that is the way to go. I mean, I am more towards mechatronics with AI, robotics with AI, a civil engineering student, how will he implement AI in his domain?
I echo that, and I always say that AI will not replace you, but a person well equipped to use AI will replace you. So you need to learn how to use AI. For example, marking. Now, if a teacher or faculty has done something on prompt engineering and she or he knows how to quickly evaluate, she can replace somebody who's not able to actually do that work in 5 days of time, whereas she's able to do it in a day's time. So that is very important. So learning AI is good, but you need to learn the tools. Along with it, you need to have good contextual knowledge as to how does this AI model, Gen AI model work. If you have the basic levels and then you learn any tool fantastically and use it responsibly, nothing better than that.
Thank you so much, Nikhil. Thank you so much. We have a feedback survey that we have launched for you. I hope that all of you are able to see it. I can only hope, because I've read certain messages that I'm not able to see a poll. So there could be some that are not able to see the feedback survey. So if you are not able to see the survey, then please write your feedback in the chat so that we can improve the next time. So the first question in the feedback poll is, how useful was today's session in helping you understand the global practices in education? The second question is, how confident do you feel in applying at least one idea from today's session in your college? The third question is, which part of the session added the most value for you? The options that we've given here are all those multidisciplinary, experiential, research, global NEP alignment insights, faculty implementation strategies. And the fourth question, the last one, is, how likely are you to recommend future TCS ION faculty sessions to your colleagues? How likely are you to recommend these sessions that we are doing today to your colleagues? These are our set of questions. We request you to please respond to the poll. Preferably, if not the poll, then please write your feedback in the chat. And we'll be glad to come up with more and better information for you the next time. We'll keep the session open while I say a big thanks to Nikhil for bringing all this perspective from around the world for us on this smaller screen that we are sitting today. And we just hope to collaborate further with you, Nikhil.
I just hope that everybody walking out of the session now takes some learnings and they do any small changes, there's assignment or assessment changes, and at least something starts changing. That's the only thing we want.
I'm hoping that all of us are together in this. I can see some good messages here. Sanjay Jain, yes, very informative session. Learned the ABCD as we can teach our students. 100% satisfaction, very good session, very informative session, faculty-oriented session. Thank you so much, and it'll be great to hear any challenges, as I mentioned earlier, the challenges that you're facing on the ground. Thank you so much, everyone. It was great to connect with you all today. Thank you, Nikhil, for taking out time, building the presentation as you did, and delivering it here so smoothly.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you all.
everyone.
Have a good day. Thank you.